Who is this guy? He's kind of eating our market share. I know what's under that mask of his.
Oh yeah? Well, who is he?
It might surprise you. That's right. It was me all along. And now that I have the majority of the anime market, there's not a single person that can stop me! So, fun fact, recently at Anime Expo 2025, Netflix went on record saying that currently half of their subscriber base watches anime on their platform. Now, that's a pretty sizable chunk, and honestly, kind of a testament to how mainstream anime has become in the current day and age. This would absolutely make Netflix the current leader in worldwide anime distribution, which is very interesting because over here you have Crunchyroll, an entire streaming platform dedicated to anime. However, Crunchyroll only has 17 million subscribers, approximately 9 times less than the number of people who watch anime on Netflix. When it comes to anime streaming, it would feel like Crunchyroll should dominate in this category, but they just don't. So why is that exactly? What has led to this current day domination that Netflix has over Crunchyroll in terms of anime? Well, first we need to look back to the previous decade, the 2010s. During this time, really the only two players in the US anime streaming game were Crunchyroll and Funimation, who were locked in a deadly war for supremacy of the market. Funimation was focusing on dubs as well as physical media. However, Crunchyroll was able to get the edge on Funimation by offering simulcasts, meaning that as soon as anime aired in Japan, people in America would be able to watch it on the same day. And this was working out very well for Crunchyroll. However, in the background, some much more powerful players were beginning to take notice. Platforms like Hulu, Amazon, and of course, Netflix. Now, Netflix had dipped its toes into anime a little bit before this. However, by 2014, they had noticed that quite a number of people were watching these weird Japanese cartoons. So Netflix decided to secure its first ever Netflix exclusive anime, Knights of Sidonia. And from what I can find, quite a few people enjoyed this show. The CGI definitely wasn't universally praised, though that's par for the course for most CG anime. But the overall positive reception would lead to Netflix investing more and more into anime. And this was causing Funimation and Crunchyroll to shake in their boots. To give you guys some perspective, Funimation and Crunchyroll were relatively smaller companies in the grand scheme of things. Those two fighting over the anime market share was like two children slap fighting on the playground. But the moment these bigger companies got involved, that playground skirmish became an all-out nuclear war. These other companies had the capacity to completely bully these two out of the market. They just had so much more money and power behind them. And this is exactly what they started to do, buying up anime licenses for much higher amounts than Crunchyroll or Funimation could offer. And this is what eventually led to Crunchyroll and Funimation merging under Sony in recent years. However, despite the better bargaining power this would give to Crunchyroll, it was pretty much too late. By now, Netflix has basically dominated worldwide anime distribution. The latest numbers we have access to are from 2023, and according to this chart, Netflix owned a staggering majority of the global anime market share with 42%. And there really isn't much of a reason to think that these numbers have changed in just 2 years. Netflix is the undisputed king, and this is for a few reasons. Probably the most simple contributing factor is numbers. Netflix just has way more subscribers than Crunchyroll. And this is because, one, Netflix was just really lucky. They got in on this whole streaming thing before basically anyone else in 2007. And thus, they were just able to cement themselves as the home streaming service. So naturally, they've just been able to accumulate a ton of subscribers over time. In addition to this, Netflix is a general streaming platform. They don't just have anime, they have blockbuster movies, comedies, documentaries, dramas. shows, basically everyone has a reason to subscribe to Netflix. Meanwhile, Crunchyroll appeals to a much more specific audience. An audience that, according to Pair Analytics, is made up of mostly young males, though most other demographics don't seem to find Crunchyroll as appealing. Yes, anime is more mainstream than it's ever been, but not everyone likes anime, and thus not everyone has a reason to subscribe to Crunchyroll. Like, do you really think your grandma Glinda is strolling around her walker like,
"Ooh, I wonder when Gege is gonna make Gojo and Geto kiss already?"
Netflix's large subscriber count means that there's a much higher density of average everyday people getting exposed to anime. For the most part, Crunchyroll doesn't necessarily try to appeal to general audiences. They make much more of an effort of just trying to get core anime fans. And one of the biggest ways they would do this in the past was with their simulcasts. Like, that was the selling point of Crunchyroll, but the issue is that this isn't much of a selling point anymore. With the ever-growing globalization of anime, basically all streaming services simulcast now. It's really not a big deal. Meanwhile, Netflix has found other ways in which it can stand out within the market. For instance, while Crunchyroll typically relies more on licensed content, Netflix relies a lot on their Netflix original anime. That's not to say Crunchyroll also doesn't get involved in producing original anime, but not to the degree and volume that Netflix does. While Netflix can still have quite a few stinkers, they've also been capable of producing smash hits like Devilman Crybaby, Beastars, Delicious in Dungeon, and Agretsuko. I mean, heck, for years I've been saying they need to remake One Piece with pacing closer to the manga, and Netflix is doing that. It's all very exciting for core anime fans. In addition to this, Netflix also tries to appeal to newbies or people that don't necessarily even care that much about anime with their live action adaptations. Though, key word here is try.
Sounds to me like blackmail.
You're damn right it is, because, Jet, you are black and you are male.
You know, I'm not perfect. I'm only human. I mess up too. But I can at least sleep soundly at night knowing that I'm not the one who wrote that dialogue. Just, oh boy. Normally, I wouldn't even be talking about this because most of these shows are absolutely abysmal and probably play no part in getting people into anime. But I do have to bring up the one exception. The one absolutely gargantuan, massive exception. It's kind of crazy to me how successful the live action One Piece is. One Piece, by all metrics, is a show that should not work in live action. And if you want my opinion, I still don't think it does, but you know, that's besides the point. When the live action One Piece aired, it was the #1 most watched show on Netflix for the entire second half of 2023, with over 71 million views at the time. And that's counting literally everything on Netflix. That's absolutely gigantic. Just imagine how many new anime fans this show created. In fact, I remember seeing posts on Twitter of people talking about how their freaking grandparents, who knew nothing about anime, were talking about this show. So ironically, yeah, Grandma Glinda might now get into anime because of a show like this.
Ooh, when is Oda gonna make Zoro and Sanji kiss already?
So yeah, while a lot of live action adaptations that Netflix have put out are the equivalent of smearing elephant dung in your eyes, it doesn't change the fact that this one show does prove it can be exceptionally profitable and has led to Netflix investing even more into these adaptations. I mean, just recently they announced they were planning on doing a live action adaptation of Solo Leveling, which it'll be interesting to see how that turns out, but needless to say, a lot of anime producers probably find Netflix very appealing right now. Meanwhile, this sentiment with Crunchyroll seems to be slipping somewhat. Need I remind everyone of the Don mishap from last year? In 2024, Bloomberg reported that several Crunchyroll staff had gone on record saying that Marcus Gardaman, a higher up at Crunchyroll, angered Toho, one of the producers of the hit series Don. This was caused by a memo that Gardaman sent out to staff saying that they didn't want to go too deep into promoting Don, supposedly because it wasn't a Crunchyroll exclusive. And despite how how anyone feels about this, whether or not it was justified on his part or not, it makes sense that this is something that would tick off Toho and strain their relationship. And apparently, according to the same article, they've ticked off a few of their other partners like Shogakukan, Shueisha, and Kodansha because of how they make and sell merchandise in ways that these companies aren't okay with. Apparently, they've even upset individual manga authors in the way that some of their characters are depicted and used. And I feel like that's the ultimate condemnation, right? Like, it's one thing if the big corporate company doesn't like you, but pissing off the manga authors themselves, there's no coming back from that. So with all this in mind, what does the landscape for anime streaming look like in the future? As of now, I don't see Netflix posing a major threat to Crunchyroll. From what I can see, both Crunchyroll and Netflix make enough money to fully sustain themselves, and apparently they're happy with the current setup. In fact, the CEO of Crunchyroll sees the two services as having a kind of symbiotic relationship with one another. We believe it's actually good for anime and the anime community that services like Netflix offer some anime and are introducing anime to fans. We know our fans are there, and if we can get them to experience a show or experience anime, then some of them will come to Crunchyroll. That being said, nothing's ever truly written in stone. Like I said, I don't see any major changes happening right now, or even in this next decade, but no matter what, as time goes on, things do eventually change. For instance, if Crunchyroll continues to alienate not only their audience, but their partners like they have been in recent years, who's to say that those same partners won't just jump over to Netflix? Considering that a substantial number of Netflix's customer base consumes anime, it only makes sense they're going to continue to push for more and more anime titles. Right now, Crunchyroll has the world's largest library of officially licensed anime, but who's to say that Netflix couldn't overtake them? They have the incentive and they certainly have the money. That being said, even if Netflix does end up overtaking Crunchyroll's library, I don't necessarily see Crunchyroll just vanishing. A lot of the times companies don't disappear, they just get bought by even bigger companies. So down the road, as crazy as it might seem, it's not entirely impossible that the same thing could happen for Crunchyroll. Who's to say that if Crunchyroll were to decline significantly, they couldn't end up getting sold to Netflix? Just kind of fruit for thought. Whichever it is remains to be seen. That being said, I want to know what you guys think could happen down the line. Let me know in the comments below. Oh, also guys, just a quick update. Anime Rewind is happening again this year. The last one I did was really warmly received, so I'm really excited to make this new one. And this time, I want you guys to be a part of it. So I'm gonna be leaving a pinned comment below this video. And anyone who's interested, reply to that comment with some anime from 2025 that you wanna see in the next Anime Rewind. I would really appreciate the feedback, you guys. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, take care.